is bombarded with 120,000 terawatts of solar radiation at any given moment, which just so happens to be 20,000 times the amount of power we need to power the entire world. And yet humanity is still shockingly far behind where we should be in terms of solar power adoption. The technologies have improved drastically over the years and continue to develop still, and yet we as a species have failed to widely accept this revolution. As with any technology, it's important to analyze these advancements before forming any solid opinions on the matter. And first, we need to know how solar panels actually work, since knowing is half the battle. To understand how solar panels work, we first need to know what electricity actually is on a really basic level. Atoms are composed of a nucleus, which contains protons and neutrons, and the valence cloud, in which electrons, which are negatively charged subatomic particles, orbit the nucleus. These electrons are free to be exchanged between atoms. That is key, remember that. Electricity is really just, not really, it is just the movement of those electrons between atoms. Some atoms can easily lose their electrons, or at least more easily than other atoms, which makes those electrons more likely to move between neighboring atoms. We call these atoms conductors. You're probably familiar with them from copper, steel, aluminum, silver, gold, water, the list goes on. On the other end of this are the insulators. These are elements that don't like to trade electrons easily, thus constricting or at least limiting the flow of electricity. Glass, plastic, wood, rubber, all great examples. The way we can generate usable electricity is by stimulating some of these atoms enough that their electrons can break free and continue to travel down some sort of conductive material like copper wires. This is precisely how photovoltaic cells work. Solar radiation, sunlight, holds so much energy that when photons collide with our semiconductor materials, those electrons have the energy or the stimulation they need to break away from their atoms and generate electricity. Bam! You're probably already familiar with our first big issue here, which is that solar radiation is an intermittent resource, meaning it's not always available for collection. Sunlight isn't available on cloudy days, during storms, at night, which makes it far less productive and efficient as it could be otherwise. Number two, energy storage is still extremely expensive. Companies like Tesla are pushing the limits on energy storage technologies with products like Tesla Powerwall, but batteries are still really high cost and can scare off lots of homeowners who are considering the switch to solar. The ironic truth is that solar is not entirely pollution-free. Traces of nitrogen trifluoride and sulfur hexafluoride are produced as a result of solar panel production. These gases have far greater impacts on climate change than carbon dioxide. But all clean energy is going to have some amount of pollution linked to it. It's still, more desirable than fossil fuels, but it is definitely still far from perfect, to say the least. Finally, solar panels require a great deal of land in order to produce substantial amounts of energy. Solar power has a very low energy density, which makes it less desirable for highly populated and growing areas. It is, however, worth noting that if we were to cover with solar panels the amount of land equivalent to France, we would actually be able to meet all of the world's energy needs. And France, compared to the rest of the Earth's landmass, really isn't very big. This means that if you divide the solar panels across all of Earth's surface, really not much land is lost to solar panels. Of course, we also can't divide it evenly across the surface, so this does still remain a pretty serious con. After the initial costs of installation and, of course, the optional battery pack, the electricity produced by solar panels is actually completely free. What the homeowner's decision comes down to is whether or not the capital investment of solar panels is superior to alternative investments. The average lifespan of a solar panel is about 25 years, and the point when you start seeing returns on that investment is only about 4 years in, so it's really not a bad deal. Here's a fun one for you. Solar power is immune to rising power prices.
Jesus Christ, that's Jason Bourne.
Because solar panels are a one-time purchase, homeowners and business owners alike can know exactly how much they're going to be spending on electricity for the next 25 years, or as long as the solar panel is still functioning. So I'm looking at my ceiling right now, unless the good old sun decides to raise its prices anytime soon, we're probably good on that front. Oh hey, future me, realizing that a bunch of my footage got lost, I guess, so save your scripts. Jumping back into it, we were talking about the sun. It's going to keep shining for another 6.5 billion years, so, you know, in conclusion, renewable resource. And in 6.5 billion years, let's be honest, climate change isn't going to be an issue one way or another, so no worries there. Perhaps the most obvious of the pros, solar energy is environmentally friendly. Yes, the installation and construction processes do create some greenhouse gases, but any negative environmental impacts caused by solar panels are at least largely counteracted by their positive impacts, and are definitely dwarfed by the negative impacts of the fossil fuel and coal industries. Not perfect, but better. Although some parts of the world receive far less solar radiation than others, there is still plenty of solar energy to supply the entire globe's energy needs. So we'll definitely be able to balance that out by just adding in some other renewable resources like wind. Okay, I think that's it. I think I have the rest of the footage. If not, you'll see me again soon. The rising popularity of communal solar gardens allows homeowners to invest in these communal energy sources without needing to put them on their own rooftops, which isn't always an option. In 2020, solar-powered homes and businesses can receive federal tax rebates of 26% in 2022 and 22% in 2021. Also, as with all technologies, solar panels and solar cells are subject to constant advancements, increasing their energy density, thus requiring less space per kilowatt hour, as well as their efficiency. Companies like Elon Musk's Solar City are working day and night to improve solar technology and to encourage the world's transition to renewable energy sources. Although recent advancements have only been incremental, it only takes a good idea and some talented engineers to completely revolutionize a product. That said, a revolution in this field is somewhat unlikely given that it's based on very basic physical principles. But, all that said, it's not impossible that solar power could undergo major changes within the next few decades. It's a field that attracts the world's best and brightest scientists and engineers, which makes improvements in this area even more likely. Solar power is receiving a great deal of funding and attention, as it is indeed one of our best clean energy sources to date. But that does not mean that it's the sole solution to our energy crisis. Though it is still a phenomenal resource that we should use as much as we can, but yeah, it's still not enough to fulfill 100% of our needs. One of our long-term hopes is to create a largely solar-driven clean energy grid. But as we discussed in our last video, the key to successfully transitioning to renewable energy is through diversity. Solar is best suited for the small scale, like homes and small businesses, while resources like wind, geothermal, and nuclear are probably best suited for the larger scale, like major cities and large businesses, since they require less space and produce power more consistently. As solar grows more cost-effective and practical in every way, more people are choosing to make the switch. To say the absolute least, solar power is a very promising resource, and it's about time we make the switch. Leave a comment below if you have or are considering the switch to solar power. Alright guys, that's all we have for you. As always, thanks for sticking around to the end and watching. Drop a like if you think we've earned it, etc., 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 and follow if you want to see more about stuff that goes whirr. Or doesn't, I don't know. We cover lots of topics here. As always, you can find the article versions of our videos over on our website. If you'd rather not eat cereal while you watch me blubber on about stuff. If you're not eating cereal while you watch our videos, what is wrong with you? Sources for these videos can be found in the description or on the article itself. We are brand new to filming videos for YouTube. Brand new to it, completely new. I got a new phone, so I forget your name, someone in the comments for our last video, you let us know about some audio issues. Yeah, we know, we're sorry. That was with an old iPhone 6s. I'm now on the Samsung Galaxy S20. Way better. Hopefully the audio quality is better for this video. Anything you guys notice, no matter how obvious it is, please drop a comment, let us know. We're trying our best to make the best content we can. No matter how obvious it is, we want to hear about it. So, any advice you have, down in the comments, be nice. Be nice, okay? We're sensitive. You're gonna make us cry. Josh was sensitive. I'm not. I'm a rugged gentleman. I don't cry. I don't cry. Until next time, remember the best way to predict the future is to create it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye. I'm kidding. It's a new phone. I'm not going to do that. Here. Bye-bye. Say it right! Terrible. Horrible. Terrible, awful in every way.